Hi and welcome to the brand new show, the preview show with myself, Cecil G, and James B. Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear us? Wicked, right, let's get into this. So, we're going to be looking ahead of today's match against Man City at 5:30. And yeah, let's just start with starting 11, James. I want to know who would you start if you was Arteta? Let us know.
This is a tough one because we've been around the office chatting about it, haven't we? We keep changing our mind. Do you play Saka over Maitland-Niles and Nketiah over Lacazette? There's a lot to go through. Let's have a look at my 11 here. I mean, the first sort of big talking point was the formation. Are we going to have a go and play a 4-3-3 or a 3-4-3? I've gone for that back three formation. And in there, I've included David Luiz, Gabriel and Tierney, who, I mean, thank God is available to play. That's a massive relief.
That's all we need.
That midfield four, I've gone for Saka and Bellerin as the wing-backs with Ceballos and Partey. I'm giving him a start today if it's up to me. I'm having him at them in the middle. Xhaka won't be playing, well, not for me anyway. And then I'm going for Aubameyang, Lacazette and Pepe as the front three.
Nice.
We'll talk through a little bit about sort of why I do that. I mean, the way Arteta typically has been setting up his sort of 3-4-3, he's kind of come up with his sort of own version of it really, where basically Kieran Tierney will shuffle into that left-back, left-wing-back role and provide width for the team. Gabriel and Luiz will almost play as like a central pair together. Bellerin obviously holding the width, but Saka will come inside and almost sort of give us sort of more of a midfield three together. Lacazette, we've always seen him sort of dropping in and playing as that kind of hold-up striker, sort of knocking the ball into midfield with Aubameyang and Pepe getting in beyond. And I just think from a lot of the research we've done that we're going to go into, that might just be the best way to hurt Manchester City. But I just want to sort of just give a little bit of evidence for Saka's involvement. Let's have a look at this stat from the West Ham game. This was our first home game of the season. Saka started in that left wing-back role.
I remember it well.
And you just saw that when we had him, there was a real purpose down that side, because obviously you had Tierney holding the width. Well, actually Kolasinac played in that game, but you had your sort of left centre back holding the width. You had Saka coming inside and sort of doubling up in midfield. And what we were doing was feeding those balls into Aubameyang. And look at this stat. I mean, 44% of our attacks went down the left-hand side against West Ham.
And that's what we need to do, I think.
I think that is what we need to do. I think that's where Aubameyang, who is our best player, we've given him this bumper contract, we want to be feeding him as much as possible. And I believe that Saka's the best way to get that out of him. I want to have a look at the Sheffield United stat as well. A very similar thing. 52% of our attempts went down that side. It's encouraging to see that Aubameyang not playing in the central striker's role is still being heavily involved in the game and still being fed regularly. I think that's what Saka's going to bring. I think we've seen it time and time again. But before we go into a little bit more about how Saka does this and where it's been effective, I think this is a tactic that, from a lot of research and a lot of watching, I think it's where we're going to hurt Man City. And obviously,
down the wing.
The best place to look. Did you watch the Man City-Leicester game?
Of course I did. Listen, big game, big game.
That was.
We've got to attack those fullbacks, I'm telling you.
And that's exactly what I want to look at, that one bit there. Let's have a look at this little graphic here. This is the penalty that Leicester won against Manchester City. Now, what we've basically redesigned here is the positioning of the players when the penalty was won. And what I want to focus on here is Barnes has the ball and he's feeding it into Jamie Vardy, and where he's making that run is in between Walker and Garcia. This is an area that is typically very difficult to defend. You don't know whether that's Walker's man, whether Garcia should be coming across, but the point is it caused panic. Vardy makes that run and they win a penalty.
Exactly.
This happened a lot of times during the game, because when Barnes got into that space between the holding midfielders or maybe that central midfield three, and then he's facing the centre-backs, no one quite knows who to pick, who should basically be picking him up. And he feeds that ball into Vardy, who, I mean, he's a genius at winning penalties. But the point is, it's just a horrible position that defenders don't want to defend. And we've seen evidence of this many, many times before.
Who do you think, which wing would you say is their least strongest? Who would you say? Would you say the Walker side or the Mendy side? Because I think Walker at the moment's on form. I think my personal opinion is coming down the side with Mendy's on, because I think he's the weak link in the City defence.
I think if I'm evaluating individual players, I think Walker's a better player than Mendy. But I think Ake and Laporte are better defenders than certainly Garcia, but it's probably Diaz who's going to play today. We've not seen enough of him.
That's true.
Obviously, he's still settling in. So maybe they've got a little bit more cover in that left centre-back role. But I'm really glad you brought that up, because if we go across to this graphic here, this is the goal that put Leicester 2-1 up. Jamie Vardy again, but this time not from the spot. And what I find really interesting about this one is it is going again down that side that you've mentioned, the Mendy side.
Yeah.
Tielemans got the ball, and in fairness, City don't often allow you a lot of time on the ball, but he's played a really good pass down the wing into Castagne, who's running into the box. The cutback for Vardy is then put away. That delicious finish was that just a bit of a flick through the legs, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Lovely stuff. But we're seeing it again. That ball had been played in that space in between Ake, the left centre back, and Mendy, the left back. They found this really difficult to defend all day, and they went 2-1 up. This one time from a cutback, and Vardy's got in front. I'm wondering whether maybe that's a space Bellerin could exploit throughout the game, especially if he is playing right wing back, he'll want to get forward, or maybe Pepe, who we know likes to get inside a little bit more.
Yeah, I want to see a bit more. I want to see Pepe start and really go out. I've said it previously, really go at Mendy and give him a torrid time. So hopefully, Arteta's on our side and starts him as well.
There's obviously argument for Willian, but the problem is that Willian will probably come more central to get the ball and maybe pick it up in more sort of number 10 areas. At least with Pepe, he got a little bit more drive. But this is 2 goals. That Leicester sort of scored and won a penalty from against City. But there's further evidence of this. If we go to this third graphic, this is Leicester's second penalty that they won. And by the way, we could have used all 5 goals as examples, but we're focusing on these 3. This time, Vardy's run is slightly different. He's sat in between Garcia and Ake, but he makes a sort of diagonal away from goal run into the box. But once again, it's Harvey Barnes who's got the ball and he's playing it where? In between Walker and Garcia again.
Perfect.
Their first 3 goals, they went 3-1 up simply by exploiting that space that was left between centre-back and wing-back / full-back.
I agree.
I think this is something that not only Arsenal should look to exploit, but it's something that in our first 2 games, especially we're going to look at that West Ham game, it's something we have exploited very, very well.
Yeah, we have
past.
We have the firepower to do it. We have Aubameyang definitely who can actually break that line, and he's proven many times that's what he loves to do in cutting and put it in the top corner.
And it's interesting you mentioned Aubameyang because you saw when I was going through my first 11, I had Saka instead of Maitland-Niles. And I know there'll be people saying, but Maitland-Niles did so well against him at Wembley. Maitland-Niles has done really well in the Community Shield, in the FA Cup final. Shouldn't he be playing? But here, if we look at this graphic of our first goal against West Ham, this is exactly why I would have Bukayo Saka starting. When he comes inside, and you see it was Kolasinac who was pulling out wide against West Ham. When he comes inside for that first goal, once again, Xhaka feeds it into Saka. And who is it who's taking it on the turn and feeding it in between Ryan Fredericks and Diop? It's Bukayo Saka. He's the one who comes inside, finds that pocket of space, feeds it into that dangerous area. Aubameyang makes the run, cuts it back for Lacazette, who power headers it into the top of the net.
Saka needs some involvement, 100%. I love that.
We saw this twice in this game. We're going to go to this other graphic. This is the goal late in the game, and Nketiah's winner that put us 2-1 up. Very similar stuff. This time, Saka picks up the ball actually wide on the touchline and comes inside. As he comes inside, it's Ceballos who's made the run in beyond, in between Fredericks, although Yarmolenko's actually covering there, and Diop once again. He comes inside, threads it to Ceballos, that same pass to the right of the centre-back that is very difficult to mark. It's very difficult to understand whether you should be pulled out of position and go cover, or whether you should hold your run and try to defend that sort of central area of the box. He plays it through, Ceballos, nice flick into Nketiah, and we're 2-1 up.
Listen, thank you. Listen, James, that was perfect analysis, and I think that's the way we should go about beating City today. Now, people, everyone watching, let us know in the comments. Do you agree with the starting 11? Who would you start? Do you think Ozil should be in the team? Listen, let us know in the comments. I'll be reading a few out. Let's actually see what we've got at the moment. So, we have got, I saw some earlier saying, a lot of people, a lot of Ozil fans. Every time I come on here, it seems like there's a lot of Ozil fans. But I don't think this is the game for him to come back into. What else are we going to look at? Let me mention actually Aguero and Jesus. Like, them missing from City's starting 11, does that, obviously it definitely benefits us, but what are your thoughts on that likely missing?
Well, Aguero, if we're breaking it down, so we know Jesus is out, and then Aguero, I think there's some talk he might have been available for today.
Oh, of course.
But even so, I mean, it's typical, isn't it? We're playing Arsenal, so they're magically fit. I always think, whenever Aguero comes straight back from an injury, he doesn't fire immediately. We actually played Man City back in 2015, and Aguero wasn't quite fit, and he didn't cause any problems. So I kind of feel like if Aguero's not completely at it, if he's just come back from an injury, he's not quite the same. But even if he is back, you know the quality he possesses. You know he can cause us loads of trouble.
Cool.
But I don't think he's going to start.
And if he doesn't, who's going to be there? Would you say Sterling's going to? What he's been doing recently, he's been playing up top. I don't think he's the strongest position, but he's been playing up top. Or who's going to replace him?
I think there's doubts about Sterling's availability as well, but. They had this problem against Leeds, and they went for a front three of Sterling, Mahrez, and Ferran Torres. It was Mahrez who was playing up front, or maybe as like a false nine.
False nine, yeah.
Mahrez is a funny one because I really, really rate him. I think he's got bags of skill. He commits players. He drives you up the pitch, but he typically does that out from the right, where he cuts inside and basically just causes havoc. I want to get out this graphic here. This is Mahrez as a striker against Leeds, and we've got his touch map and we've got his heat map now. There's two things. You've played as a striker before, and I wonder whether you viewing this...
It's terrible.
it's not good, is it?
Listen, no offence to Mahrez, but it's terrible. What was that, one touch in the box?
Yeah.
That is
He had
all.
one touch in the box. The rest you can see it sort of scattered, basically across that sort of middle to final third of the pitch.
Yeah, the heat map. Look at
And the
corner.
heat map, I mean, basically it's shining most from the corner flag, which isn't great. It doesn't bode well for him. I think what that tells you here is Gabriel, Luiz, and maybe if it's Tierney or if they're playing as a two, whoever is playing can maybe just take a few steps up and push on a little bit, especially if there's no Sterling who's going to be making those runs in behind.
Agreed.
I think it'd be dangerous to do that at the Etihad because of the firepower that Man City possess. But I think Riyad Mahrez is going to become the problem with the midfielders more. So whether it's Ceballos playing, whether it's El Neni, whether it's Xhaka, I think Mahrez is going to be their problem. I think they're going to need to take charge. They're going to need to watch who's picking them up. If De Bruyne is not playing, who Guardiola I think has said he's not available, and you've not got then that natural sort of 10.
Come on.
It might be Gundogan. It might be Gundogan instead. It might be Foden. I think the midfield might be a little bit overloaded, a little bit overrun, but that's okay as long as the centre backs are allowed to sort of do their thing and sweep up behind.
Yeah.
But you've played up front. I mean. Tell me a little bit about this. I mean, why is Mahrez not? Is he not making runs in behind? Do you think he's trying to play too much as a false nine?
I think that's what Pep must have said to him. That's probably where his strengths lie. Is he's not a natural striker, so he's not a natural finisher, which means most natural strikers work in between the goalposts and in that 6-yard box. But he clearly is not. I think a lot when I'm watching him playing in that position up front, has his back to goal as well. He's not ever making a direct run, so that's probably why they probably kept him out of the game. I think marking Mahrez as a striker would be pretty easy, especially, and it clearly shows it here. It shows it in the heat map. It shows it in the touch map. So, yeah,
he's a funny one. I mean, I wonder how a team like Man City can go into a season with all the money they've got and all the investment they've had in the team. How they can go in with just 2 strikers, especially when you know that Aguero over his career has had fitness issues. He does pick up injuries. This isn't surprising. So really what you're leaving yourself is one dependable striker in Jesus, and now he's injured. I think it's really put Manchester City and Pep Guardiola into a difficult situation. But
Okay. Yeah, so let's look at some more comments because I can see them all flooding in. People going crazy. So I've got some score predictions. Some people are saying 2-1.
What's the vibe? What we feel? Are they fancying Arsenal?
Yeah, they're fancying Arsenal, saying 2-1 Arsenal. I'm seeing Thomas Partey. They want Thomas Partey to start. I think that is the general consensus. I was on the ground the other day speaking to fans, and everyone wants to see Thomas Partey start, but whether he will or not is another question. I've got a starting lineup here from Ernesto Arsenal. In goal, Leno, Gabriel centre-back with Luiz, Tierney and Saka. On playing full-back, and then we've got Bellerin just in front, Partey, Ceballos, and then up front we've got Aubameyang on the left wing, centre striker is Laka, and then Pepe on the right. So that is kind of similar to...
That sounds almost identical.
It's the same, I think that's the same. Yeah, it's a good... Yeah.
Do you think we can leave Granit Xhaka out after how well he's done, though? I mean, I know I've argued for it, but after how well he's done under Arteta, since Project Restart, how important he was for the cup run?
Yeah. My personal opinion, I think we can leave him out, in my opinion. But I know there could be an argument and that might disrupt the players' confidence and the camp, if I'm honest, leaving him out. But I feel like it'll be the right decision. And I really want to see Thomas Partey. I mean, we paid the money for him. I think it's time. I also want to talk about going to City and taking it to them. I feel like that is what we should do. I think we should take it to them. We shouldn't give them too much respect. I have said this as well. We've just watched Everton-Liverpool and it was non-stop. battling, it was intense, and I feel like that's exactly how we should go at City. I think it's be exactly the same, and put them on the back foot, not sit back and invite pressure. What do you think?
No, I totally get the argument for it.
Oh, this sounds like you're gonna.
No,
it sounds like you're gonna disagree with me.
No, I'm sorry. So, do you know what? Like, more often than not, I'd always agree with you. We should have a go. We've got the firepower. We've got the strikers to do it.
Yeah.
We normally should have a go. And City have been weak defensively. I mean, they've shipped a lot of goals. 5 against Leicester. Leeds could have had a few.
Definitely.
So they're definitely there for the taking. But I want to bring up this stat, which hopefully will explain why I'm a little bit more apprehensive.
What have we got?
These are the goals scored in the first 4 weekends of the last 6 seasons. And if you look here, 15, 16, 101, then you've got 106, 101, you're sort of around that area. Maybe sort of 10 more on that in the 18-19 season and 19-20. This season we've already had 144 goals. That's 28 more than the second best, which is the 18-19 season.
Wow.
We've seen some incredible scorelines. I mean, Leicester 4-2 with Burnley, Leicester losing 3-0 at home, then winning 5-2 at City. We've had Tottenham win 6-1. We've had Villa beat Liverpool 7-2. It's been
a good first 4 weekends of football.
It's been unbelievable for us. And I remember people wondering whether no fans in the stadium meant that maybe we were going to lose a bit of that intensity. If anything, it looks like we're seeing more freedom. But this is where I think this stat tells me that there are goals in this season. There are goals.
Being leaked everywhere.
And I don't know what you put it down to, whether it's, maybe the lack of fans means that maybe the players are a bit more composed in front of goal. Maybe they're executing 100%. Plans more sort of rigidly, or maybe there's that lack of sort of pressure and intensity. Maybe that's a good thing for the game in terms of goals being scored and attacking play and flair and freedom. But that would worry me. It worries me that while Arteta's absolutely tightened us at the back and made us more resistant to pressure and we're conceding less chances, I just wonder whether we could one day be on the
receiving end of
a bit of a battering.
Do you know what? That's a good argument. That's a good counter argument. I still think we should go there to City and take it to them. But the stats do show, and that's a great stat. I haven't even seen that. That's amazing. Congrats on that. I've just got a comment here from Cruz saying, Cruz 486, Arteta will start with 4-3-3. Now, that's not what you think. Well, you don't think that's the best formation to start with, but do you think he'll go with 4-3-3, or do you think he'll go with your starting 11, the 3-4-3?
No, I think he will stick to the 3-4-3 because the players are used to it. He's had success with it. I think first game back from an international break, they've only had a few training sessions since, with everyone back. I think he'll stick to what they know. I don't think he'll try and overcomplicate it. But anyone who's arguing for the 4-3-3 now, I don't think they're miles off. I think that is what we're going to see eventually. I think that's why Partey's been brought in. I think it's to accommodate for perhaps the more technicians in the midfield we've got, and suddenly you're going to have someone who maybe is a little bit more disciplined, a little bit more defensively reliable, or maybe someone who can complement Xhaka and get up the pitch more and give us more presence in midfield. The argument for 4-3-3 is absolutely valid. I just don't think today is going to be the day that we see Arteta really go for it, especially when his 3-4-3 in attack actually does look like a 4-3-3 in essence. So it's a fair point. It's a fair point, but I just don't see it yet personally. Okay.
Cool. James, thank you for your analysis, and I hope you guys watching enjoyed our preview show. If you want to find out the formation and the lineup, that's going to come on AFTV in the next 45 minutes. So keep an eye out on the platform for the starting 11 that Arteta will choose, and stay posted for the watch along. And let's hope we get a win over City.
Let's do it. We've got to get this big 6 win away from home at some point. So
exactly.
Let's do it, man.
Thank you for watching.